Well, good evening, everybody. Just making sure my microphone's on. All right. Well, I literally hopped on a minute late because I realized I wasn't plugged directly into my router. So, whenever I do anything on taping, whether I'm taping a Zoom call or I'm going live, the first rules of podcasting, and this was taught to me by one of the top rock and roll podcasters, my guys over at Pod of Thunder, one of the leading rock and roll podcasts. I was on their show a couple years ago, and I was talking to the host, and they had already been doing it for 8, 9, 10 years at least. And he told me one of the first rules of podcasting is never go wireless. So I don't use a wireless microphone. I don't use wireless headphones. I do not use, and I always make sure that my computer is plugged directly into the router. So that's free advice for those of you who are going to enter into this space. Always make sure things will go wrong. So that's why I hopped on a minute late. Okay, Shoot Ski says, good evening to Run Shoot Ski. Welcome into the chat. So just want everybody to know that this is my opportunity to interact live with my audience. So hop in the chat right now and start talking. If you have any questions or anything, I'm going to start talking here in a minute. People are jumping in. Mary Curry says, hello from Scotland. Hello from Scotland. Always awesome. Love my peeps. And just so you know, if you'd like to donate to Mormon Book Reviews, well, there's somebody that gave a donation to me. I gotta get back to you because we need to make sure I give you a shout out. But of course, we've had a conversation on the phone as well. Of course, a lot's happened, and my goodness, in the last couple of weeks, isn't it crazy, folks? I want to share a couple of new things I got in my collection. Last week, hello, Roman. Hello from Salt Lake City, Utah. Roman, hello, welcome. I got this last week at the Stake Center. I got a Think Celestial bracelet. And then I got from Monica Ringer, who's my new co-host for the Utah Interfaith Forum. She made these when she was doing some interfaith work while on her local ward. And one of the things that the bracelets is kind like Christ. She had these made. So I got these two added into my collections, which I have been wearing a lot lately as well. So I want to make a couple announcements. And we're going to get into why, just talking about, yes, I was subpoenaed. It's kind of a weird story, but I feel the story can finally be told partially. I'm going to tell the full story eventually. Oh, I want to share this too. We got these prints in the mail. I can't tell you the full story, but we will be. There's more to this story, but a really cool Latter-day Saint had a vision of Christ's wounds in his hand reaching out. And he actually had somebody commission a painting of this beautiful, stunning painting of Jesus' hands. So pierced hands and wrists. Actually, it's interesting because he has both the wrist and the hand pierced, which is probably the correct way that Jesus would have been crucified, would have been able to keep him up. Okay, so, hello from Maple, Ontario. Oh, Canada, my home and native land. Okay, that's the last time I'm singing. I'm not going to do David Alexander. I'm not going to start singing, okay? I actually think that the Canadian national anthem is really cool, personally. I can almost sing it word for word, just so you know. By the way, I could do an episode on I could do a program on Canadian politics. That's how much of a dork I am. I probably know more about Canadian politics than most Canadians do. Okay, so Andrew says, hi from Rainy Parish. Andrew, are we talking about Parish, Florida? Like, are we in the same neighborhood? Let's hang, Andrew. Heck, let's hang tonight. When I get off. I'll meet you at Wolves Head. Radio Free Mormon, hello from hell. And Radio Free Mormon, I will have you know that you're the reason why I'm going to be talking about my little subpoena situation. Let's see. Portland, Oregon. Lucy Jackson, I agree. I don't know what you agree with, Lucy, but I agree too. Andrew Ekman, yes, we do at Wolves Head. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So Andrew, okay, either way, that's awesome. Great. Okay, see you at Wolves Head, right? Maybe you'll see each other. All right, so I wanted to talk about a few announcements. People are hopping on. Boy, we're getting a lot of people hopping on tonight, man. Andrew Ekman, I literally lived on the road to hell in Michigan. It's a real city. Yes, there is a real town in Michigan called Hell, Michigan. We have had many properties in Michigan throughout the years, but never in hell. Although a lot of people think that wherever I was at in Michigan was hell for them. Jared Huff, welcome. We just got off the phone, talking on the phone. My homie, Jared, good dude. He's going to be participating. He's one of my younger people that have participated in my channel. He's been on a panel discussion, as well as talked about his time served in Poland on his mission. So, Jared, you're always welcome in this space. You're an awesome human being. It was good talking to you on the phone. Okay, a couple announcements, and we're going to get started. First of all, just a reminder, on Thursday, April 18th, in Sandy, Utah. I will be speaking at the Book of Mormon Evidences Conference, the 33rd International Book of Mormon Conference, hosted by my homie, Rob Meldrum. I am doing the Thursday night primetime keynote address from 7 to 8. The game plan is going to do a Protestant defense of the Book of Mormon. And we're going to talk for about 40 minutes. And I'd like to ideally do like a Q&A for the last 20 minutes for people with any questions. So that's the game plan right now. On April 17th, don't have the date or the time or the venue yet, but we also are planning on doing a meetup, which we always do. We usually get about 20 to 30 people to our meetups, so it's still intimate. You still have a chance to talk. I know Firm Foundation, there will probably be thousands of people there. I don't know if I'll be able to say hi to everybody, but if you want a more intimate affair, and by the way, when I'm in Utah, I'm always up for a free lunch or a free dinner. So if you put in for that, you can, I'll entertain you for an hour and a half. And you'll be like, man, that's an hour and a half. I can't get back in my life, Anyway, so then I will be giving a presentation. Let me go through, make sure. Beautiful. Okay. Okay. Hi, Steve. You're so kind. When are you going to have Michelle Stone? Oh, thank you for bringing that up, Christmas girl. I'm not going to talk about that in too much detail tonight, but I want to let you know that I've been talking to friends of Michelle's, mutual friends, and I'm going to be reaching out to Michelle soon. I feel bad I haven't done it yet. But it's just my phone literally has been exploding almost constantly for the last 2 weeks. And so I need to set aside time to have conversations on the phone or on Zoom calls. And right now I just got to be able to make some space for that. But it's really important that, Michelle and I will be talking soon. I've been talking to mutual friends and we have sent out messages of goodwill. And I feel that we're on a path of building bridges. And I'm looking forward to having future conversations with Michelle of 132 Reasons. Oh, okay. Andrew says, I'll buy you dinner tonight after the cast. Okay. So I already got dinner tonight. Woohoo. All I need is an appetizer. My mama, she made me some. We had pea soup. My mom makes a mean pea green soup. It's awesome. So we had that split pea soup. Because Gustavov, all the way in Mexico City. Gustavov, how's your channel doing, bud? We got to talk soon. I need to get back on your program. I need to have you back on too. So I like to see all my good friends here, fellow podcasters, fellow people that have been part of my life. I think you're all awesome human beings. So then one more announcement. I just wanted to say that I'll be giving a presentation this summer, first weekend in June in Cleveland, Tennessee at the Mormon History Association. I've been asked to give a presentation along with a few other podcasters about talking about historical topics on our programs and how actually the impact that it's actually having on Mormon history and scholarly and scholarship. It's the paradigm has shifted, right? Like people are realizing that I can give a presentation at a historical conference that maybe 20 people are going to be sitting in that room and that's it. Or they can come on my program and give their presentation and really literally reach thousands, which has happened. And so it's just a great way of, there's obviously, I love MHA. I love JWHA. I love these things, but man, I want to be able to get these scholars and the cutting edge scholarship out into to lay people, and that's what we're doing here at MBR. I mean, folks, I'm aware of things that haven't been published yet. We're on the cutting edge. I'm literally watching right before I got on here. I was watching a documentary that's really mind blowing, and I'm one of the first people to be able to watch it. I'm going to be interviewing the cast and crew of that documentary this week. I've got 3 interviews lined up for next week, by the way. So then a couple of things. Let's just make sure. Okay. China Clay, great attitude, Steve. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, I just want to thank everybody for all the kind words over the last couple of weeks. Ever since we helped break the story about the whole Kirtland Temple thing, my channel has literally exploded. This already is the best month the channel has ever had already, and we still have 9 more days to go. We have a pretty good chance of hitting 100,000 subscribers. I'm not 100,000. 100,000 views in the month of March. To give you context, 2 weeks ago, our channel got 1 million views, our 1,000,000th view, right? All time. And just this month alone, we might do 10% of that already just in this month. This has already been the best month for the channel. And we're on pace to hit 100,000 views this month alone. That's awesome. And the channel continues to grow. It's record setting. So yeah, it kind of got all lost in the shuffle. 2 weeks ago, tomorrow, our channel hit 1 million views. And that's a major milestone, and we really didn't acknowledge it here on the channel. So I wanted to acknowledge it tonight. Keep up the awesome work, Steve. You have a heart of gold. Thank you, Natalie. Appreciate that. Radio Free Mormon. I want to hear about the subpoena. Okay. One last announcement, though. Andrew Ackman, $10 in the super chat. Remember, thank you, Andrew. If you want to get a shout out tonight, please feel free to donate in the super chat. I really do greatly appreciate it. You know, there are people that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and people give them $5, $10 donations all the time, and they don't even know it. But man, you get $10 to somebody who's got 7,000 subscribers, closing on 8. That means a lot. It's a bigger impact. So always remember, help us little guys. I know you want to get, John DeLynn to praise you, and I get that, but throw for the extra. If you got an extra hundo your way, or $5, $10, $20, do it. I'm not doing this for the money, but it's always greatly appreciated. Okay, Steve just sent me $30 on Venmo. Every time I go live, he sends me some money on Venmo. So he says I don't have to acknowledge him, so I'll just give his first name. Steve, thank you for the $30. Greatly appreciate it. One more announcement. Let's talk about the subpoena. So I just want to let you know that my new co-host for my Utah Interfaith Forum, I got to spend some time with her. They have a place here, a vacation home here, not far from where I live. And we have taped about a half dozen episodes. So go to UIF, Utah Interfaith Forum YouTube channel, and subscribe. We have interviewed some great guests, including a rabbi. Yes, a rabbi, RFM. A rabbi that I think you've been talking to too. I've already taped my interview with him. And I'm guessing you might be talking to him too. So RFM, talk to the rabbi. And of course, you knew that already as well. All right. We're 10 minutes in, and let's get going. Welcome to Mormon Book Reviews, where an evangelical encounters the restoration. I'm your host, Stephen Pynakker. Rabbi Joe. He is, and RFM, you have my permission. This is my nickname for Rabbi Joe, RFM. He's the Rambling Rabbi. And he loves it. So you call him the Rambling Rabbi, and he will get a laugh out of that. Him and I have had some wonderful phone conversations with each other, and is truly a wonderful human being. And of course, many of you might be aware of the Rambling Rabbi because of his appearances on A Marvelous Work, which I know RFM is a big, big fan of. So speaking of, okay, so now that we're here, I wanted to just talk to you briefly tonight about a story that's been happening for over a year now. And just so you know, our Radio Free Mormon on the Mormon Discussions platform actually posted something about the lawsuit that Jenn Kamp had filed against him has been dismissed. Well, in that episode, he also revealed that my name was one of those people that she attempted to subpoena. Now, it's a very interesting story. I'm not going to tell the full story about Jenn Kamp. I hope to one day, whether it's on this platform or on some other platform. But, I've been kind of inexorably linked to this from almost the beginning, because basically I was one of the first people she ever interviewed. And when everything went down, I knew about it within a few hours after, like not days, but hours after things happened. I was made aware of it. So I was in communication with people early on in this whole thing, aware that there was a situation. I wasn't privy to actual details, but became aware rather early on in the process. And that was partly because I was in communication with both John and Jenn. John, of course, being my friend, but also at the time, Jenn was somebody that I was in communication with because I was having her on my program. And then a few weeks later, we would help Rebecca Biblioteca and I would have her come on my program, and we helped launch Jenn's YouTube channel. So for whatever reason, Jenn attempted to subpoena me. Now, the problem is that Jenn, first of all, misspelled my name, and she attempted to subpoena me via email. So she never was able to find somebody to come here in Florida to serve papers to me. So this was a very interesting subpoena, to say the least. But she tried to pull me into this. Radio Free Mormon says, I'm trying to get Rabbi Joe and David Alexander together. And are you still in communication? Radio Free Mormon asks, are you still in communication with Jenn? Why or not? No, I'm not in communication with Jenn anymore. No, not in communication with Jenn anymore. That I can tell you for sure. But early on, early on in the early days, before we knew all the details and everything like that, and I even had permission from John and clearance from everybody that, we're going to continue these conversations and all this kind of stuff. And it was just because, again, I didn't know all the details about what was going on. And then, of course, I want to give Radio Free Mormon a lot of props, because over the course of the last year, starting February of last year, and I remember it because I was in Utah when the very first episode came out. I believe it was either the first episode or it might have been when the OSF RFM, was it last February when you guys dropped the OSF Zoom call? I believe that it was, right? And I think I was in Utah when that happened. And then so throughout the last year, okay, thanks for confirming that, RFM. So over the course of the last year, RFM has been giving updates to his audience about the lawsuit that Jenn has put out there, and with the attempt to do the lawsuit. Unfortunately, Jenn's it's basically or February. Yeah, I want to say February 2023. It was RFM because I was in Utah last February, and I'm pretty sure that the OSF thing dropped then first, like the second week of February, as I recall, because I got there on February 7th, and I think it was February 8th, 9th, or 10th, somewhere abouts in there, that you dropped the OSF meeting that Jenn was in. And so, yeah, that was that. So yeah, so I basically I get a few months ago, I get this email from Jenn that wants to subpoena me to testify in her countersuit against John DeLynn. And I was like, well, I got in touch with people, and people basically advised me that this was not a legitimate subpoena, and that I did not even have to answer it, and to not answer it. So do not even acknowledge it, do not answer. So I did not, because it was not a valid subpoena. And she also tried to subpoena other people this way. And I was told this is not, there's no legal power here, that she can't subpoena you if she's not serving papers. And papers were never served to me, just 2 emails. One was, you're being subpoenaed, okay, with my name misspelled. And 2, then she does a follow-up. Hey, by the way, today's the deadline, but if you want me to extend it, I will. Of course, I didn't respond to that one either. So that's kind of the details with that. Eventually, I'd like to tell the full story. I just want to make sure that there's still pending lawsuit stuff going on, and I don't want to get all caught up in that. So I waited to publicly disclose Jenn Kamp's attempt to subpoena me today, because it had been publicly disclosed by RFM a couple days ago. And now that that's out there, and this was all a matter of public record anyhow, folks. I mean, these were part of public records in lawsuits. So it wasn't like I was hiding anything. I just didn't want to publicly say anything. But once I saw that RFM brought me into it, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go and do a live thing and talk a little bit about it and riff on it as well. And then RFM says, if you watch my show from last night, I'll explain. So I want to let everybody know that in the description, I have a link to the episode that you posted, RFM. And so that's in there. And then once this video gets processed, I'll probably include it on the end card at the very end of this video as well. But that usually takes a couple hours for the video to process. So those of you who want to watch the full episode of RFM discussing the whole story of what happened to him and the shenanigans, if you will, or all the odd things that have been happening over the course of a little last year in our little world. Now that we can start talking about it a little bit, and I'm just I kind of saw that RFM did something. I was like, okay, well, hey, my name's brought up. People know that I kind of got tied into this whole bizarre thing, and I'm part of the story, and that's fine. And so that's the latest. Okay, let's see. I guess I'm not on YouTube. Okay, we're making sure now. Just real. I don't normally wear a cross too often, because I'm not one of those people who's like, hey, look at me. I'm wearing a cross. But I do like to wear a cross daily during the most holy week on the Christian calendar. So we are entering into the most important period of time on the Christian calendar. Palm Sunday is this Sunday. Good Friday, of course, is next Friday. And we have Easter Sunday. So this is an important period of time for us as Christians, as believers in Yeshua, to maybe try to contemplate the Savior and what he did for us and the sacrifice that he made for us. And for those of us who are involved in contentions and stuff like that, let's maybe take a break from that this week. And let's contemplate the sacrifice and everything that Jesus did for us as believers. Now, if you're not a believer, you do your thing. I'm not going to, tell you to do anything else other than what you want to do. It burns. RFM says it burns. Hey, by the way, that's it. And it does reflect. It definitely reflects a lot too. My mom bought this for me last year. So I wore this during Holy Week last year, and I'm going to wear it during Holy Week this year as well. RFM says, stop it. RFM, next time I see you, I'm going to bring some holy water, throw it at you. So I love it. Yeah. So just basically, I just wanted to just basically reiterate here that Firm Foundation next month, MHA, I'll be speaking at in June. We just reached 1 million views 2 weeks ago. We're going to probably hit 100,000 views in this month's March alone, which is going to be a record. And yeah, there's been a lot of things that are going on. So I just want to talk a little bit about it. First of all, Michelle and Brady Stone, and we're going to at some point we're going to be talking. I really feel like let's make this period of time, this Holy Week, the week of healing and reconciliation. I think it's really important. That could be very symbolic of this. So let's maybe strive for that this week. That's what I'm thinking. Actually, I think that might be a good idea. I just thought about that. Yeah, let's do that. And then also, there are people in the community of Christ that are still a little upset with me for breaking the biggest news story probably in the history of the Restoration. And I am sensitive to your feelings, but please do not attack the messenger. Now, I've actually heard from some people who actually reached out to me and said, sorry, Steve, I attacked you. I was really upset, but I was upset at the community of Christ, and I took it out on you. And so these people have refriend requested me, and I've accepted them back in. And so we're good. I think we've patched up a lot of stuff with the community of Christ. But, just because things were not handled really well doesn't mean that you should attack me for doing my job, which is if I have one of the biggest news stories land on my lap and I don't do anything with it, then I might as well just walk away from doing this. I mean, what's the point, right? I mean, this channel has become a source of a lot of breaking news in the Restoration, all the way from the summer of 2021, where we broke the story about what they were growing at Tunbridge Farm in the 1790s, when had Mark Staker come out from the Church Historian's office and gave the results of the study that was ran through a collider. They were able to find out the pollen. So we've been breaking news ever since the beginning, and this is not insignificant stuff, right? So that's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to be on the cutting edge. We're going to also be interviewing all the Congress people from Utah, plus their Democrat opponents, maybe an independent if they're, whatever. We're going to talk. We're going to have Summer Rain. We've already had Congressman Burgess Owens on the program. We're going to talk to every member of the congressional delegation. We're going to talk to the U.S. Senate nominees who are replacing Romney. We're going to talk to gubernatorial candidates, whatever. We want to have all the different people who are running for office or serve office in the state of Utah to tell their faith story. So it'll be non-political. We won't be doing campaigny stuff, but we want to be fair to all the different people. So because it's an election year, this would be a good time to know all your different congressmen and senators, or those who would like to be congressmen and senators, and have them tell their faith story. So that's something that Summer Rain and I are working on. Of course, she's got a lot of the connections to talk to those people. And I think that would be great to actually kind of be part of the conversation of the elections that are happening here in Utah. Again, I was a poli-sci guy. I was a political consultant. I ran for office. So this is right in my wheelhouse. So of course, dealing with politics, I think would be interesting. Okay, Ryan King. Radio Free Mormons. Those reorganites are so touchy. They can be, yeah, and they can be. Ryan King is there an area of Mormon studies that is your specialty? No. I think that gives me an advantage though, because I think a lot of people have specialties, and so and that's good. They're focused in on their specialty, but I have kind of a broad view of Mormonism where I kind of just jump to all the different things. And actually, I bring that to the table as kind of a macro view of the Restoration. There are areas maybe that I'm stronger in, but I can't say I'm a layperson. This is all an autodidactic exercise, folks. There's no institution or organization that can take credit for me. Literally, this is just me in my own study time. I'm not crazy about this topic. The person you refer to seems to me somewhat fragile. You have every right, but is it still right? I'm still pissed at you for doing a podcast about someone instead of having them on the podcast too, but I wish you well generally. Okay, and you know what? I appreciate that. Fair enough. Again, I just want people to know that Jenn Kamp did come on my program. I helped launch her podcast. So I want to make that very clear. Jenn Kamp, I would never talk about Jenn Kamp again, but she decided to subpoena me, and it's a matter of public record. So you decide you're going to subpoena me, then that's on you. So again, I want the context, and also, and just so you know, yeah, a lot of people are still upset, and we are having conversations. So, but thank you for sharing that. I apologize profusely to Michelle, and I had a great conversation with Cheryl Bruno on the phone the other day, and I really feel like we're turning the corner here. So I think it's a really positive experience. But yeah, I understand. Sometimes when you're a public person, and it's weird to think of it, but yeah, in this space, I'm a public person, and I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm going to make missteps, and I'm going to own that, and also not try to cover it up or try to defend myself if I did something stupid or wrong or I made a mistake. I don't have such a big ego that I can just go and say, hey, yeah, I was wrong. And let's see what we could do to patch things up. And remember, the most important thing is you got to remember to think celestial. See, that's the key. Think celestial. There we go. There it is. Yep. So that's my newest bracelet in my collection. So either way, it's a Friday night. It's almost 8:30 here on the East Coast. I just wanted to hop on for a few minutes. By the way, folks, do you like me doing these live Friday nights? Sometimes they're 30, 45 minutes. Sometimes they're an hour long. I just kind of like to have these conversations where we talk. Again, I want to thank everybody for getting us to 1 million views 2 weeks ago. And 100,000. I like to see, so glad to think Celestial is being merchandised. Now, I will say I got this for free, so I did not pay for this, just so you know. And I like, okay, didn't see that coming. So either way, folks, I just want to thank you so much for everything. I want to thank all the great feedback in the chatter box. If there's anybody who would like, I'll stay on. If you'd like a shout out and you'd like to make a donation to Mormon Book Reviews, do it now. I'll stay on here for another minute or two, give you a shout out. By the way, while I'm still here, does anybody have any questions for me? Any questions or comments? Any that can be off topic? You got me here. I'll hang around for another minute. I don't mind going live. I think it's kind of fun sometimes. So what do you think? Anybody has? Okay, Andrew says Wolf's Head. So Andrew, I guess we're gonna be meeting at Wolf's Head after this. That's one of my favorite spots. And then it says RFM says tell the full story. Well, eventually I will, RFM, but probably not live, not yet. And also I feel like I want to wait a little bit on that one. Maybe I'll come on your program and tell the story. What do you think? I don't know. Let's do it sometime. Plus, it's a Friday night. It's 8:30. It's the end of the week. And guess what, folks? I am completely fried. Literally, every day, my phone dings about 150, 200 times. That's not an exaggeration. Emails, texts, voicemails, phone calls. It's constant. And I usually need them. I use my evenings to unplug. Run Shoot Ski says, I don't have any idea who John and Jenn are. So John is John DeLynn of Mormon Stories. And Jenn was somebody who used to work for him. She actually worked in more of an office person behind the scenes. And then she would later become a co-host on Mormon Stories. And then John and her would have a falling out. And that has led to litigation. Let's just put it, I guess that's the best way putting it. I don't run, ski, shoot. John DeLynn is, like I said, the host of Mormon Stories. That is the biggest. He is the Joe Rogan of Mormon podcasters. So he's the big dog. We all rotate around his gravitational pull, whether you're pro or anti, or wherever you are. Switzerland, Mormon Stories is a major player in this space. Litigation and subpoenas. Thank you for clarity. RFM is a great attorney himself, and I love his stuff. I feel like he's very fair and balanced in how he kind of explains things and lays things out. By the way, just so you know, RFM, my mom watches all your stuff when it talks about some of that stuff. So just want to let you know you got a fangirl in my mom, and you should be my mom sometime. In fact, I wish I could just call my mom in, but she won't come on. But yeah, so okay, I've talked a little bit more. I'm going to talk for another minute and a half here. And yes, RFM, my mom does have good taste. Now she doesn't watch me, but she'll watch you. I don't get that. So obviously she has good taste. Something to think about. Well, I want to thank everybody. A lot of people have hopped on today. A lot of people are watching. And I just want to I do enjoy getting the great feedback from people. The positive comments have been wonderful. And the criticisms. Hey, constructive criticism, I'm always open to. I feel like that's really important. It makes me do a better job, right? It makes me work harder. It really is an important thing to me to do right by my audience, work my tail off. Yeah, your mom. Yeah, and my mom. RFM says a boy's best friend is his mother. Yeah, she don't watch me. No, I'm just joking. Yeah. Maybe you should send her an RFM mug. RFM, right? I don't know. Yeah, that'd be cool. Why don't you send her an RFM mug? So either way, so remember, we are entering the Holy Week. Palm Sunday is this Sunday. Just remember that this is one of the holiest weeks on the Christian calendar. And that's one thing that we all, whether we're Protestant, Catholic, or Restorationists, we can all agree that we do serve Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior. and he is our coming king, as we believe, in many ways. Lucy Jackson, yes, that's the problem, Lucy. Aren't subpoenas supposed to be delivered personally? That's the point. They weren't. Her subpoenas were they were paper tigers, right? They weren't legit. It was an attempt to do something via email, and maybe it was kind of a fishing expedition. She was trying to get people to respond. I don't know if anybody did. They certainly weren't legally required to do so. So just so you know, folks, just let's use this as a civics lesson. If somebody sends you an email and says it's a subpoena, it is not. And you are not under any legal obligation to respond to that. Is that correct, RFM? Mary S. Curry says Mormons don't really celebrate Easter. Yes, but over the course of the last couple of years, they have made a shift on that. They started integrating the cross in some of their campaigns, and they definitely seem to be moving in a more mainstream Christian direction when it comes to Easter. So that is definitely a change that's happened under President Nelson. We are seeing a shift towards more conventional Christianity in many different ways, and I see it. I recognize it. Wouldn't be surprised, folks. Look, when they are using crosses on Google Maps now for their local wards, how long before they actually have crosses on their chapels and buildings and stake center? I don't think that's unrealistic. I really think there's a real attempt by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to be more accepted by mainstream Christianity. Now, I will say that last year I had a conversation with Apostle Elder Anderson, and I talked about it last year where he blessed me at the stake center. And what he said was, and him and I had a great conversation afterwards. He said, on our way here to dedicate the stake center, we drove by an evangelical church, and I went to everybody and I said, listen, those evangelicals are not our enemies. They are our friends, and we need to work with them. That's what he said. And then him and I had a lovely conversation, which is documented on my channel that I posted last year that has like 12,000 views, where I talk about being blessed by a Latter-day Saint apostle. And then Lucy says, "What? I've been LDS for 30 years, and we've always celebrated Easter." Yeah. So I hear mixed record. I hear mixed messages on that, Lucy. I hear from some people say they don't really they don't celebrate it like that. Did you guys do like sunrise services? Did you guys do Maundy Thursday? Did you guys do like Good Friday services? I mean, typically when they say, do they celebrate Easter? It's not just like doing an Easter Sunday service, but also doing, did you do like a Palm Sunday service? Did you wave palms? Like at our church, we would like wave palms. Even like Ash Wednesday. These are and Ash Wednesday. I mean, there's some of these are Catholic, but a lot of Protestants do. So when you say you celebrate Easter, the Easter season, what does that look like? Like, did you have like special? Did you do sunrise services? Did you do Good Friday services? In other words, it's not more than just a Sunday service. It's a so yeah. Radio Freeman says no sunrise, no Good Friday. And then Mary S. Curry says, I was told that we don't celebrate Jesus' death on the cross. We celebrate that he's alive. The cross is negative as far as Mormons say. And so that's one. Yeah. So, but I do think, look, Brigham, there are pictures of many of Brigham Young's wives who are wearing crosses. So I honestly think that within the context of the restoration, the cross is a viable object that I can see make a comeback. And again, the reason why Latter-day Saints don't use crosses is because David O. McKay basically felt like they were a Catholic symbol, and he kind of wanted, interestingly enough, to become more like mainstream Protestants. So ironically enough, because this was kind of used as a Catholic symbol, they kind of moved away from it. That was all his attempts to correlate and kind of he was the first prophet since Joseph Smith not to have a beard. He wanted this was the attempt by David O. McKay to integrate the Latter-day Saints into mainstream Protestant America, and in many ways mainstream Protestant 1950s Protestant America, which in many ways they successfully did. But then the 60s happened, and that kind of changed a lot. Okay, Lucy Jackson, no, you're right. It was just Sunday service. Okay, so yeah, that's when we say like Easter's treated a little differently. It's in that context. I'm sure that Easter Sunday would be acknowledged in Sunday services, and maybe some kind of special program of some kind would be done. But typically, it's not much different than a typical Sunday. Whereas within the Christian world, it's really like the most important day on the Christian calendar, much bigger than Christmas and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, well, it's been about 35 minutes in, And I want to thank everybody for their fantastic feedback. I want to thank everybody for all the comments and people who have donated today. I really do appreciate it. For those of you who'd like to donate to the channel, I do have links in the description that if you want to financially support the channel as well, it's there. And check out in the description Radio Free Mormon's episode on Mormon discussions, in which he talks about Jenn Kamp's lawsuit being dismissed against him. All right, time to go. And Radio Freeman says, time to get plastered. It's only where you're at, sir. It's quite early yet. I be careful. You got to be careful, my friend. Don't start too early, okay? That can get kind of dangerous. Love all of you. Appreciate you. And remember, this is the most important thing. All the voices of the restoration will be heard here on Mormon Book Reviews.